9 people have been arrested in Oshkosh in connection to a human trafficking investigation. The men arrested range from 20 to 55 years old. They were arrested for pandering, which is coercing someone into prostitution. One of the men was from Texas, while the rest of them are from cities in northeastern Wisconsin. The men were arrested as part of an undercover operation by Oshkosh Police Department's Vice and Narcotics Unit.